Hey everyone, welcome back to another weekly build along, and this week going to be kind of stepping it up a little bit. We're going to be doing some woodworking with some common hand tools because we are going to be making a stool. I have two little kids at home, 4 and 2, and they struggle to reach the sink to brush their teeth and all that. So I found this cool little stool online. In fact, let me see if I can find a picture of it here. Yeah, let me show you. Right. Oh, can you see that? Oh, there it is, kind of coming in focus. That's what I'm going to be making. Now, so you notice that picture didn't have any dimensions on it, so I need to do some sort of preliminary planning to figure out exactly how big I want this thing to be. I do know that I want it to be 16 inches tall, but that's about the only dimension that I know at this point. So I taped together some scrap pieces of foam core. Normally I'd use cardboard, but it's a little easier to see on camera with the foam core. So I'm going to draw out basically a side profile of what I think it should look like, and then I'm going to use that to get my dimensions for all of my pieces. So let's get started with this. Alright, so 16 inches tall. Well, we might as well just do that dimension first. What is my, so it's 21 by 20. I think I'm going to keep the length. So I'm going to keep that at 21. Let's go ahead, put a little mark there. 16 and 16. There. And get my Sharpie. Not my Sharpie, my X-Acto blade. Alright, so that's probably going to end up being close to what the stool is going to be. It's going to have 1 step, then 2 steps. Okay, so I suppose the next thing is figure out how big are the steps going to be. What do we think here? Should we make it 10 and 10? Let's see what happens with 10 and 10. Alright, so that is 10. Yeah, okay, so let's go through here. If the top tread is going to be at 16, that means this middle one is going to be at 8. Okay, so that is there. So let's go with, I kind of like 10 inches. Yeah, I think 10 inches is good. So we'll go 10 inches there. Maybe about, I think the boards I'm using are about 1 inch thick. It's actually some old deck boards. I just redid some steps. So I have a bunch of cedar deck boards. I'm actually going to use some old scrap wood to build this. Because we're in quarantine, I do not have as much access to all the materials I normally would, so we're going to make do with what we have here. Alright, so I'm just going to eyeball that for sort of straightness. Yes. Do a very good job. Okay, so we have that. Let's also make this the full length. So we'll go right about here, just like that. So basically what we have here is the top step, and then this will be the middle step. So I need to add my supports. How wide are my supports going to be? Let's go with roughly 3 inches. I think that'll be good. Let's use my cut mat here. So if we go 3 inches right here, just like that, and let's angle this. So let's cut the excess from this off. It's 29, so we need to cut it at 9. Liking that. Okay, so this also needs to be 3. Right, so let's go 3. Let's go there. All right, I think that is, I don't know if you guys can see that. I think that is my plan. Now it looks kind of confusing because I have lines going everywhere. I have lines that I don't necessarily need. But basically what it is this top part right here is the top step. This bottom step is actually going to go the full length or width, I guess. This board right here, that is the support that's going to support the first step. This board supports the top step, vertical support here, and then this is the sort of angled support that's going to support all of the front. Okay? So really, I'm going to have 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then however many deck boards I need to sort of make this. Okay, so I think that's actually pretty good. So now we can head outside, start trying to figure out if we actually have enough wood to do this. I should probably make sure we have that first, and then so we don't mess up our basement, we're gonna do all of our cutting outside. So let's get going outside. All right, so this is the lumber that I've salvaged. You can see I've got about 4 pieces here, and this is kind of what I have to work with here. So I do think I'm gonna have to adjust my measurements. I had all my boards being 3 inches wide, and I think I'm gonna switch that to like 2.5, just because I want to try to get 2 out of here, and this is less than 6 inches. So I'm going to bump them down to 2.5. That way I can get 2 boards out of each of these. And I'm hoping I don't have to use this big one, because I'd like to use that for another project. But if I have to, I have to. So let's get marking out our boards and get cutting here. All right, if you're wondering what I'm doing here, so if you don't have one of these, it's a super handy tool to invest in. It's called a speed square. This is a 12-inch one. I think normally they're about 6 or 7, but it has all these notches. So for purposes like this, where I need to scribe a long line, just put your pencil in the line right there, and you can drag it along, and it works perfectly. So I think I'm gonna have to use this board, which is okay. But let's get cutting. All right, we got our boards cut to width, and we are ready to start cutting our individual pieces to length. I think I got enough pieces. While I was cutting, I was kind of thinking about the build and the assembly, and I think I might need to add a couple pieces just to prevent it from racking left to right, but I'll show you what I mean when we get to that point. So let's start cutting. Let's make sure we maximize our pieces. So let's figure out what pieces are going to come out of what boards. So these are, I believe these ones I'm going to have to, yes, I'm going to have basically 4 pieces that are 20 inches long. And this, I got lucky, this board is barely over 40, so I think it's going to work perfect, hopefully. Hopefully I don't end up with a couple short boards. So let's flip these over so we can see our marks. And these are going to need some angles cut on them. So looking at this piece right here, and then this piece. So if I do end up with, sorry, you guys can see that. If I do end up with a piece that is a little shorter, what I can do is just use it. One, I can either use it up here, and that tip will just be a little bit shorter, or I can put it here, and this can be a little bit shorter. Either one is not going to hurt the build at all. So let's mark those. Actually, I don't even know what that angle is, so let's figure that out right now. So that is going to be, let's go this way. That looks like it's going to be about a 33-degree angle. So let's just do that right off the bat here. Which side to go? Let's just do this. So let's go about 33 right there. Perfect. And let's measure from there down to how far. So from short points to long points, we're going to have 17 3/4. Okay. Let's use this to be a little easier. So do that, and 17 3/4, so straight to there. No. How do I do this? There we go. So we'll go 30. No, that's wrong. Get my angle straight here, so it's got to go that way. Why am I not? Here we go. All right, we got it. 33. Straight to there. Good. All right, let's cut these. Good. Excellent. First piece done. And now what I'm actually going to do to make sure they're both identical, I'm just going to use this piece as my template to cut the next one. And we can just use this angle to match. Okay. Perfect. Well, maybe. I want to make sure, because we have a bare side and a red side, I want to make sure that when I put it together, red is on the outsides. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, but I think I have enough wood to, make that work. Yeah, so let's go like this. Line this up. Pencil's getting a little dull. There. There. Excellent. So, two pieces, mirrors of one another. Okay, so it'll go like that. Very nice. Okay, so now I'm going to cut part 3. Use the same long piece here. And these have an angle that is going to be let's call that, actually, you know what, I'm going to wait to cut that angle just because just because I don't want to make sure it looks right once it's done. So I'm going to hold off on that and just cut it square, and we'll put it together and go from there. All right, so we need 20 inches. Whew. Barely anything to spare. Alright, we got these cut now. Pretty good. Alright, so 2 is going to be 15 inches. So I believe that this is 30 inches long. 31, perfect. So I'm going to get both pieces out of here. Yep, 15. All right, so 15 inches goes to there. And then, right, that'll be all right. Yeah. So I'm gonna cut this first and then measure from there, just because this side's kind of buggered up a little bit. And 15. I like it. All right, so I got my one last piece here, and that is going to be 10 inches long with an angle on it of I think I'm going to leave that one too. Leave that run just square at 10 inches, and then if I want to cut it off later, I can. But I just don't want to mess that up. All right, so I think I'm going to not use this one because it's got a pretty decent crack, and I'll just have to glue that, so I don't want to use it. I am going to use this one though. That looks nice. All right, so let's measure off our 10 inches. one more. All right, let's clean up a little bit here. All right, so we have all of our pieces cut, and I think we can pretty much start assembling here. So this is going to go up there on one of the sides. We're going to have a 15-inch piece here. We're going to have one of our 20-inch pieces here. And then this piece is going to go basically like that. So that's kind of how it's all going to work out. I think I like that. Yeah, I think that's going to work good. All right, so let's start assembling here. I have it kind of mocked up, and I think we're good to go here. So I'm going to use my square just to make sure everything's square to start with, and then what I'll do, get one side built, get the other side built, and then the treads are actually what's going to join the two. I think that's going to work I think it's going to work. I may have to add some other cross braces in there just to prevent it from racking, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So let's get some screws. Shoot, I think. All right, so I've got some 1¼ deck screws. I think that'll work. They might be a little short, but I'll just have to sink them in pretty good. I am also going to use some glue on this, so that will work in my favor. So I think probably the best way to do this is to I think I'm just going to screw it together first, no glue, because I may want to make some changes to it. I can always take it apart and put more glue on it if it needs it, but I think just because I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to work out, I don't want to glue everything first and then have to tear it apart and break pieces. So let's hold off on that. Okay, so let's start. And now that I'm looking at this, I feel like I'm going to need a cross brace here. So I'm going to go ahead and set this back. This cross brace right here, I'm going to set it back the width of a board, which I think is 3/4 of an inch. A little bit more than that. Okay, so should we just cut that board right now if we need it? Let's do it. Let's just cut it now. Let's just cut it. So next question, how wide is this thing going to be? How wide is this board? How long is this board? This board is 18 inches. Let's cut this at 16, and that will be our spacer. Okay. All right, spacer piece, which is going to have to join to this piece. Where's our other little shorty? Which will go like that. All right, I think that's looking good. And then let's like that. Or should it go like that? I think I'm going to leave it like this. So what I'm trying to decide here is, so because I'm adding this sort of spacer piece in, it shifted these pieces back, the thickness of this. So I was trying to think, well, do I cut that off so it remains the same tread depth? But I think I'm going to have the top tread just be that much longer. They're going to be standing on the top tread the most, so I think that'll be okay. I think it'll be good. So we'll leave it there, and then we'll attach the legs there. So, all right, I think I have my assembly process down. I'm going to join these. I'm going to then put the front legs on, the angled legs, and then the bottom tread support. Perfect. So let's get drill. And I've got to go get my drill bits. I'll be right back. All right, got my drill here, and I'm gonna need to get out the countersink bits. Okay, so we need this, not that one. So, I don't think I have a bit, the right bit I need. Ah, here we go. Yep, I got it. Okay, so normally I don't like to drill and countersink just because it's an extra step. But with how dry this wood is and how close I'm going to be putting screws into the end, I know it's going to split if I don't do it. So might as well just do it right the first time. All right, so I'm running into a little bit of an issue. This cut on this board is not perfectly square, so this one is tilting down ever so slightly. But that sort of compounds itself when you get to attaching this one. Because what's happening here is, and when I get this in the right spot, there's about an 1/8 inch difference right here. Now, that's not the end of the world. It is kind of a problem though. So what I'm going to do actually, I think I'm going to try to put it on the way it should be, and then work backwards and fix the problem. Okay, so now you'll be able to clearly see what I'm talking about. It's got a little bit of a wobble to it. So what I need to do is go back and sort of unscrew some things, get it sitting right, and then screw them back in. Maybe, or maybe I just say forget that and all right, so let's try this. So this should be, okay, so that's 15 1/8, 15 1/8, 14 7/8, and yeah, 15 1/2. Okay, so we're way off. All right, so we're gonna step back here and redo this. So I kind of like what I'm seeing here as far as a methodology. So I am going to clamp this down, and you see something here. Okay, so this one's actually not bad. It's the fact that I have some boards that are kind of warped here. I'm finding out, so we need to figure out a way around that. And I think our best, whoops. All right, I think our best option is going to be to unscrew this over here, let this kind of settle, and then rescrew everything back to where it needs to be. Ooh, just that literally did it right there. That's awesome. Ooh, that's perfect. That is perfect. So let's not mess with that. Let's put a screw in from the side and actually maybe put a little bit longer screw in, just to make sure we have a good hold. That is excellent. And now, just going to gently, no. Okay, we're just gonna leave it right at that. That's awesome. That one's still a little bit off, but I think it might be okay. Let's give it a try. Looks good to me. Not gonna mess with it. I'm gonna leave it right like that. Once I get everything assembled, then I can go back and kind of maybe put some more screws in. So we have 16 inches tall, correct? Is that what we originally said? 16 inches tall, which means the next one needs to be 8 inches tall. So that means, get this out of here. That means that our brace needs to be 7 inches off the bottom. Okay, so let's make a mark at 7. That is looking sweet. That looks awesome. Yep. So this is the piece I had to add because of racking. I didn't want that to happen. I am going to add another one. I didn't want to put another one here. I don't know why, but I am going to put one across the middle right here. And that'll be under the tread, so you won't really see it, which is kind of what I was going for. So that is going to be this piece right here. So that is going to be 14 and 3/8. So let's get this out of the way. Alright, so this piece is pretty cracked, but we'll get by. 14 and 3/8. Looks good. All right, I think the only thing I have left to do is put in, cut the deck boards, which the top, the deck boards, or the treads are gonna be, let's just make them, let's have them overhang a little bit. Let's cut them at 19, and then in the bottom they can't overhang. That's 16, about 1/8. That's about 16. We'll cut them a little bit over 16. I think I can wedge them in there. So what did I say up here? 19? That's a little big. Yeah, let's go. All right, so we're gonna cut them right to the edge. So let's go 17 and 3/4 and 16. All right, got the deck boards cut. We start putting them on. I did make a decision to not I don't want to put deck boards along the whole bottom because I got all of these out of one piece scrap board, and I didn't want to cut up another one because I might have some more projects I want to use that lumber for. So let's do the bottom ones first. All right, folks. I think that turned out pretty sweet. I'm happy with that. That is a stool made out of old deck boards with a circular saw, a little jigsaw, and some cordless drivers. That's awesome. Excuse me. Oh, cedar dust. All right. I think I still have a couple things I have to do. Since my kids are going to be using this, I want to make sure I go and sand everything. I don't want them getting splinters. And I may even put a wire wheel into an angle grinder and kind of distress the wood a little bit where I cut it, just to kind of make it look a little bit more weathered where the fresh wood is showing. But other than that, I think it turned out pretty good. All right. Until next time.